Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. Here's the lineup for our show today. In Ag News, we'll touch on headlines affecting Kansas farmers and ranchers. In our Ag Feature, I'll sit down with White Cloud farmer Ken McCauley. He's the current president of the Kansas Corn Growers. In Inside Ag, Kansas Wheat introduces us to eatwheat.org. Then the Kansas Department of Agriculture talks about gift giving from the land of Kansas. In the news you need to know, we get our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association, and we'll look back on this week's market activity with the guys from Paragon. This is Kansas Ag Report.
Closed captioning brought to you by
The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org.
Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Well, in Ag News, the U.S. Department of Transportation has granted drivers who haul livestock a 90-day waiver from a regulation that could have negative effects on animal well-being. Livestock sector sought a waiver from a requirement that certain drivers install electronic logging devices on their trucks. Well, they also asked for an exemption from the regulation, citing the incompatibility between the transporting of livestock and DOT's hours of service rules. Those regulations limit truckers to 11 hours of driving daily after 10 consecutive hours off duty, and also restricts their on-duty time to 14 consecutive hours, which includes non-driving time. The DOT recently issued an interpretation intended to address the shortcomings of the hour of service rules and exempting from regulations from any long-distance logging requirements of truckers hauling livestock within a 150-mile air radius of the location in which the animals were loaded. The department soon is expected to publish guidance on the air mile exemption. Well, the U.S. Census of Agriculture forms will start showing up in farmers' mailboxes in December. The national census, conducted by the National Ag Statistics Service every 5 years, is extremely important that farmers take time to respond. The last Census of Agriculture found 2 million farms and ranches covering more than 914 million acres in America. The census is critical that it gives farmers and ranchers a chance to influence future policy decisions. Now, federal law requires all agriculture producers complete the census and requires NASS to keep all the information private. Well, the fifth round of negotiations on the North American Free Trade Agreement moved slow this week, although negotiators talked through a dozen of topics, but there wasn't a whole lot of movement. Now, while progress has been slow, there were not any fireworks behind the scenes, which is a change in tone from the last round that was held in our nation's capital. During the previous round of negotiations, the U.S. tabled several proposals that Canada and Mexico objected to. The U.S. is reported to be frustrated because Canada and Mexico are hesitating to give counterproposals to some of the U.S. positions on key issues. The U.S. has made several proposals that have been referred to as poison pills. Well, in state news, fall harvest almost wrapping up around the sunflower state. The last report from USDA shows corn 96% complete, soybean harvest at 94% done, and sorghum harvest at 86% finished. Cotton harvest 39% complete, with sunflowers now 83% done. Winter wheat condition 56% good to excellent, and 90% of the wheat has emerged. The Kansas Commodity Classic will take place January 26 next year in Manhattan at the Four Points Sheraton. This conference is the annual collaboration between Kansas Corn, Grain, Sorghum, and Wheat Associations. The event, free and open to the public, but they are requesting that you register for the event. You can visit the Facebook page under Kansas Commodity Classic for more update and where to register. And the Commodity Futures Trading Commission and the Center for Risk Management Education and Research at Kansas State University are jointly hosting Protecting America's Agriculture Markets, an agricultural commodity market futures conference, April 5th and 6th next year in Overland Park. This is the first of its kind conference and will include robust presentations and discussions on current microeconomic trends and issues affecting American agriculture futures markets and the importance of these markets in managing risk and protecting participants from manipulation, fraud, and other unlawful activities. More information will be released as the date approaches next spring. Up next in our Ag Feature, I sit down with Ken McCauley from White Cloud, the president of the Kansas Corn Growers. You're watching the Kansas Ag Report. Stay tuned.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
We're joined now by Ken McCauley, the president of the Kansas Corn Growers. And Ken, as we get ready to wrap up the year, harvest was good, I assume?
It was very good, Ken. In northeast Kansas, far northeast Kansas, it was very good. But you go very far west of the western edge of Brown County, all the way across Nemaha and Marshall, it got really dry. And you didn't have to go very far into Brown County, and it dropped off by the mile. So feel really fortunate. And I've told people a quarter of an inch of rain means more than it used to, because we got several quarter-inch rains, and I think that's really what kept us holding on.
Seemed like really time the rains happened, a lot of places just the right time, and so, but that's also created the concern where we're back to low corn prices again.
Well, we are, and the only way for a farmer to gain on things is to have more bushels. So you understand that, yeah. I know, yeah. But that's the way it works.
All right, so let's talk about issues important to Kansas corn farmers. Right now the hot topic is what's going to go on with tax reform. Is something going to happen that agriculture doesn't get hurt?
I think we'll end up okay. I don't know that ours. I mean, I think the brackets will change to help us if we have enough income to take advantage of the whole scenario. I think that's a big deal. But there's a lot of things up in the air right now, and I really think that they're going to end up okay.
So that, and of course, we'll talk Farm Bill a little bit, but just where we are, what might possibly happen. There's a lot of folks say that the federal looks like the Kansas. Not everybody in Kansas was completely harmed by what was there, and there's some adjustments. And I think many folks say it's been since the Reagan administration, so we've tried to at least adjust the federal tax code, so maybe we can try and see what happens.
Well, I've listened to it, quite a bit, like everybody's tried to listen, but I think you've got to use a filter on a lot of this of, what are you really hearing? Are you hearing the opposition talk? You're hearing the pros talk, and I tried to do that. So I think the middle of the road person that's the income like most of us have is going to be helped by it. But if we lose stepped up basis, I think that's pretty much out front that nobody wants to lose that. The way the tax code, the estate tax part of it is, I think I don't know the percentage, but most of us have done estate planning enough that $11 million should stand and take care of a lot of us.
Ken McCauley, the president of the Kansas Corn Growers, is joining us. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail. Keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Well, we're joined by Ken McCauley, who is the president of the Kansas Corn Growers Association. And Ken, as we talk, one of the big things on farmers' minds is the Farm Bill, what might happen. But in order to get to that point, a lot of times the numbers are based on the numbers. And you and I have had conversations, we've had conversations with other folks. We get sort of frustrated when stuff comes out from USDA, we say that can't be right. And so really is part of that whole thing getting USDA right to get the right numbers, and we start all these discussions to make sure we have the right programs for America's farmers and ranchers.
We've had so many problems with farmers filling out surveys, and I fault the way we're still being surveyed. I think NASS has smart enough people in there that they can change the way we do surveys so farmers feel like we're in the 21st century. It's old data. It's not old data. It's old way of collecting data. And I know that NASS has smart enough people in there that they can do this, make it, modernize it, and still use the old data that they have that we all desperately need.
Do you think that would be shifting more to electronic type results? Because I'm sure a lot of folks might have some pushback of saying you don't want to direct some of the big data we have now collection that way. What do you think is still a human connection to that data?
Well, there's too many questions about personal things, and I think they can get those things from other places and simplify these surveys to the point where farmers feel good about the fact. I mean, take cash rent survey for example. Nobody's going to give you the correct cash rent, and there's no reason to ask it. Get it from some other area. Utilize what we've had in the past, figure it out. There's anomalies you can do all over the place if you want to. So I think it's really important that we get that done, because the discrepancies in this past Farm Bill, there's been a lot of guys left out of the money for no reason.
Okay, so let's talk about the Farm Bill. We've got a few other steps to get there. We're starting the beginning process. What do you think? Tweaks, or are we going to have to reinvent the wheel again?
Well, I sure hope some organizations don't try to reinvent the wheel, because everybody's pretty satisfied with the choices we have today. I think if you could change your PLC, ARC choice today, everybody would change to the PLC, and I've never done that. I think it's what relates to what we have. So, you're locked in for 2018. But the next Farm Bill, I really think we'll have a choice, and the majority of the farmers will look at that. Where is that target price set? And that will be the key of where they choose. But I think the bulk of them will look at the PLC today.
We've had a lot of discussions about farm bills over the years. I think every time we think, well, this is going to be the last one. Well, guess what? After this last one we got done, this might be the last one, but here we're right back at it again. We never quite get it, do we?
I don't think we're at the last one. I think there's a lot of threats and there's a lot of things. But, trying to get too much, and we haven't talked about crop insurance, but crop insurance is the number one risk management tool we use on the farm. You know that, and I totally agree. But this isn't the last Farm Bill. I don't think that's an issue at all. I just hope somebody doesn't try to get too creative and mess it up, which could happen, with different crops.
Right. Well, Senator Roberts has basically said crop insurance is going to be there. I trust him being the chairman of the Senate Ag Committee.
I trust Senator Roberts too. He's our champion for crop insurance, and we'd be in a real predicament if it was somebody else, because he does an excellent job being our chairman.
Thanks, Ken. Appreciate the update.
Thank you, Ken.
Ken McCauley, who is from White Cloud. He's a farmer there and president of the Kansas Corn Growers Association. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
When urban consumers look down at their plate, chances are they may just see a culinary masterpiece, or maybe they visualize a few extra calories adding to their hips. But most see the food in front of them. But many don't see how that food came from the farm to their plate. While it may not be a topic of constant thought, many have begun to wonder about the farmers who produce the food they consume and the processes farmers use to create such a bounty. EatWheat.org is an outreach program funded by farmers to tell their side of the story. The Kansas Wheat Commission is the driving force behind the project that aims to create awareness of farm and production practices through the lens of food as identity. And the food that we think we can connect best with is, of course, wheat. It's simple, it's versatile, it's natural, and it doesn't matter if it's homemade for hours or picked up at the grocery store ready to go. It's a simple and natural way to connect to others and yourself. The website eatwheat.org launched in mid-November, just in time for the holiday season. This digital campaign features quick and easy recipes geared toward moms on the go, while sprinkling in tidbits of the story of American farmers. We'll be reaching out to our audiences through the website, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and much more. EatWheat.org wants to share your side of the story before someone else tells it for you. If you're interested in learning more about the Eat Wheat Project, please contact the Kansas Wheat Commission.
The holidays are just around the corner, and what better way to celebrate the state we love than giving the gift of Kansas with great products made by From the Land of Kansas members. Kansas-made food and other products not only make great gifts, but they also support Kansas farmers, ranchers, and agribusinesses. Look for the From the Land of Kansas logo when shopping at gift shops, boutiques, and grocery stores. When you shop Kansas, you support local Kansas companies. This year, giving the gift of Kansas has never been easier. The program now offers gift boxes that can be ordered online, include a personalized message, and be shipped directly to your family and friends. These gift boxes offer a large variety of products from across the state, such as sunflower oil, pumpkin butter, sandhill plum jelly, wildflower honey, and homegrown popcorn, just to name a few. Remember, shop.fromthelandofkansas.com for gift boxes this holiday season. For other ideas, or to find retailers or Kansas businesses near you, visit the map on fromthelandofkansas.com. If you don't live near the retailers, you can also shop online at the From the Land of Kansas marketplace at shop.fromthelandofkansas.com. Look for the From the Land of Kansas logo this holiday season. Connect with us on Facebook or Instagram and read our blog, or follow us on Pinterest to find recipes throughout the holidays featuring many of our great From the Land of Kansas members' products. Make Kansas part of your holidays this year, from the gifts you give to the meals you prepare. From the Land of Kansas is a program of the Kansas Department of Agriculture designed to promote and celebrate agricultural experiences and products grown, raised, or produced in Kansas.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
KLA members are encouraged to attend the convention November 29th through December 1st in Wichita to provide input on issues affecting their businesses. Members will have an opportunity to discuss and vote on association policy as it works its way through committee and council meetings. The KLA Animal Health and ID Committee will hear an update from Kansas Animal Health Commissioner Justin Smith. He will discuss plans for the next step in the Animal Disease Traceability Program. Smith also will provide an update on animal disease control efforts in Kansas. KLA Tax Committee members will hear a report on the status of federal tax reform from National Cattlemen's Beef Association Director of Government Affairs, Danielle Beck. Discussion is expected on expanding KLA policy to include support for 1031 exchanges. The KLA Natural Resources Committee will try to determine an appropriate level for Conservation Reserve Program acres nationwide and consider whether landowners should be allowed to use CRP for grazing during the contract period. Members of the KLA Stock Growers Council will look at pending dealer trust legislation being considered in Congress and review Kansas fence law. During the annual meeting of the KLA Cattle Feeders Council, members will hear updates on and discuss changes in water regulations, property taxes on feed yard equipment, local zoning of feed yards, and air emissions reporting. Resolutions advancing through the committees and councils will require final approval from the general KLA membership at the end of the convention. For more information, visit www.kla.org.
Good morning. I'm Cody Wintersheet with Paragon Ag Advisors. The 2017 harvest is finally starting to wind down for most folks, and with the recent stretch of weather, it has definitely been a slow grind for some producers out there. With that, the annual debate begins again about potential acres for the following year. And of course, most are starting to look into seed orders for 2018 as well. As you're making some of these important input decisions for next year, you should also be looking into locking down some prices as well on some percentage of your expected production if you haven't already. But what about the rest of this year's crop production? Well, we're finally starting to see some decent basis improvements around after seeing wider than normal levels for the better part of harvest. For those that are utilizing commercial storage, you must weigh the cost of storage in this price environment, particularly in corn, versus realistic market appreciation. It's no secret there's a lot of corn out there with expected carryout pushing 2.5 billion bushels. One could look to capture an improved basis and free up cash flow by selling sooner rather than later, and turn to the futures or options market to re-own the grain if you want to stay in the market longer. For producers with on-farm storage, there is very nice carry premiums out into the deferred contracts to be had. The key is you need to take action to actually capture that carry. Another advantage to that is being able to more than likely see better basis levels down the calendar as well. On soybeans, the same basic principles would apply. However, it seems to be a much easier sell considering the recent respectable prices attainable in that market. Thank you and have a great day.
Closed captioning brought to you by
The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org.
Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Well, that's our show this week. Stay up to date with ag information or watch the show again online at KansasAgReport.com. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.